This was the correct decision, but there's more work to do. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about all charges being dropped against Jordan Williams, the suspect in the New York City subway stabbing case, in which Williams and Victor Odorago got into an altercation, and Williams wound up stabbing Victor Odorago, killing him. This was, from my point of view, self-defense, but he was in danger of getting charged with manslaughter, murder, or something like that. But a grand jury declined to indict him. They said, nope, we're not going to indict him. That's what happened. Now, as I said from the beginning, I think this is the right decision, but there's more work to do, because let's get into the articles. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it, shall we? Now, look. You see what this says right here. Grand jury declines to indict man in fatal subway stabbing. Jordan Williams acted in self-defense. His lawyer said he had argued with the victim, Victor Odorago, on a J train, resulting in the fifth killing on the subway this year. Now, some are going to key in on the whole thing about the argument. Now, from what I read, Victor Odorago got into it with several passengers on the train. So from my point of view, he appeared to be violent, angry, trying to fight any and everybody on the train. You're in an enclosed space. You can't just leave. You can't just escape a moving train. So what are you going to do? You may have to fight. And that's what happened. The guy, Victor Odorago, was threatening the guy's girlfriend, may have tried to punch the guy's girlfriend, or may have punched her directly. So that's how that whole thing played out. That's much different than the case in Chicago. We'll get to that in a minute. But also, the next case, Daniel Penny. Remember this. Also on the subway, he was indicted by the grand jury. Now, what Daniel Penny did was restrain Jordan Neely in kind of they want to call it a headlock. I'm not sure what that's really called that. It was just a restraint from the back when he was on the ground. Some say he choked him out, he killed him, all this and that. And the third, I think, if anything, it was an accident at best. I've not seen the tox report from Mr. Neely to see if there was any drugs going on that could have contributed to his death rather than a restraint from the back. But regardless of what, Daniel Penny is indicted and faces prison time over what happened. Now, I don't think Daniel Penny or Jordan Williams should face prison time from what I know about the situation. Now, before I go any further into it, let's go ahead and roll a news clip from the news out there. I think it's NBC News. I think it's national news. I will link to everything I'm talking about right now in the description box so you can see and read it for yourself without my commentary. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio. Go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
I'm just happy that, the system turned out to work in my favor.
A chaotic chapter in the life of 20-year-old Jordan Williams from St. Albans, Queens is now over. Williams was arrested and charged with manslaughter for stabbing 36-year-old Victor Odorago to death on a J train in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago. From the beginning, Williams said he acted in self-defense.
I was scared in that situation.
A grand jury believed Williams and refused to indict him.
I'm happy that I can get on with my life the way I'd like to.
Law enforcement sources tell News 4 that on the night of the deadly stabbing, Odorago was harassing strap hangers, acting erratic, and punched Williams' girlfriend, Yasmin Ratliff.
Everyone was there. They seen that he defended me. I was defending him, and that's it.
The Brooklyn DA's office says our office conducted an impartial and thorough investigation of this tragic case, which included review of multiple videos and interviews with all available witnesses, and that evidence was fairly presented to a grand jury. Today, the charges against Jordan Williams have been dismissed.
Justice has been served.
When asked if he feels like authorities moved too quickly to arrest and charge him, this was his response.
I do feel it was a little fast, but, it's behind me now, so I'm not going to dwell on it.
Williams says he's now focused on his future, restarting college and getting a job. The money raised by strangers, over $100,000 for his defense fund, will now go to his college fund.
I was scared in that situation, and I didn't think a lot of people would support me, so I'm definitely grateful for it.
All right, so that's that. That is the story. Shout out to him. He deserved to get the charges dropped. I'm not sure about the whole word about dismissed. I heard that quite a bit. People say, oh, well, the case got dismissed. I'm not quite sure that happened. if a grand jury declines to indict you, does it mean the charges were dismissed? I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that he's not facing any kind of criminal penalty behind what happened. And from what I know, I don't think that he should. Okay, I don't think it was like the case in Chicago. Let's revisit that because I know that's going to be a comparison. Hey, ABL, what about the Chicago case? You said something different. No, the cases are different. It's not the same thing. Just because there was a fight, there was an altercation, and then somebody died as a result does not mean it's the same thing. Okay, really, truly, Daniel Penny, Jordan Williams, and also the Chicago case with Carlisha Hood, they were different. In the Chicago case with Carlisha Hood, you have an argument between two people in a restaurant just outside. Now, your car is outside. You got your boy in the car. If things are not going right, you're having a hard time, this guy's appearing to be threatening, you can go ahead and roll out. From the video, he was not hitting on her right away. There was just a discussion between the two of them. And he gave her an out, talking about, hey, you say one more thing, I'm going to knock you out. Now, you're right if you say, hey, ABL, he shouldn't be able to tell her that. He shouldn't be able just to bully her around like that. You're right, 100% right. But you're in that situation, what are you going to do? You got to pick. You can continue to talk and fight or not talk, and you most likely will not fight. What are you going to do? Now, she was a concealed carry holder. She should have had that on her. So in the case of her trying to de-escalate and it doesn't work now, okay, go ahead, rock 'em, sock 'em. But that's not what happened. She allegedly texted her boy outside, according to what the news said, according to what the police said. That's what they say, not me. And see, now you got somebody else involved. It could have been, it could have been de-escalated. That was just a situation that, from my point of view and my humble opinion, could have been avoided. Now let's go to New York City with Jordan Williams and DeVictor Odorago. Now, DeVictor Odorago is probably high on drugs, acting the fool on a train, as we see all the time in New York City. He, according to witness statements, had been harassing several passengers. All right. Then he comes up on Jordan Williams and his girlfriend. There's some kind of altercation that ensues. I don't know if there was an argument about, hey, let me stay in here. I don't know what it was. But since he had been harassing other people, I don't think it was anything personal. I don't think it was anything that really made any sense. This is a guy that's just acting the plum fool on the train who is trying to harass and or hurt people. And then he wound up swinging on Williams' girlfriend, punches her in the face. So now there's a fight. There's a tussle. Jordan Williams has a knife, which you can't have in New York City, but he had it. And then he went ahead, stabbed him, and he died. That was a clear case of self-defense, in my humble opinion. And let's go back to Chicago for a moment. I think even maybe that was a case of self-defense initially, as far as the fight that happened between Carlisha Hood and the guy, Jeremy Brown. That was self-defense when the boy came in with the pistol and shot. That was self-defense. But see, the whole thing could have been avoided, first of all. Second of all, allegedly, there was some prior communication going on, and allegedly, there was some shots after the fact. There was a threatening of the witness. Cases were different. Then Daniel Penny, as I close. Daniel Penny, it was another guy on the train acting the fool, a guy who had been known to act a fool, a guy who had been known to threaten people, a guy who was known to have mental illness. He was so known to have mental illness, he was in the top 50 people in New York City who were homeless that needed help. Clearly, he did not get the help. So then there's an encounter with Daniel Penny. He's trying to restrain him so he doesn't hurt himself, speaking about Jordan Neely or anyone else on the train. Unfortunately, Mr. Neely died, and may he rest in peace. But do you think that Neely tried to kill him? Was it some kind of confrontation that was avoidable? Look, you're on a train. That's a key difference here. You can't just leave, run away. You're right here on the train. So what are you going to do? Wait until he strikes you? You can't leave. You're on a moving train. So what do? You're trying to make sure that he doesn't hurt anybody or hurt himself. He dies. Now you get indicted. I think, as I close for real this time, the reason why the indictments played out the way they played out is because of social pressure, maybe some racial politics going on, but definitely social pressure for sure, cultural differences. And that's why Daniel Penny was not arraigned or arrested until a week later after the incident. That's why. Nobody on the train thought that he did anything wrong. Witnesses saw him do what he did. So each case was different. I think Mr. Williams in this case was justified to do what he did. Some nut job running up on you, punching your girlfriend in the face. You're not bothering them. The guy was bothering other people, but there was no evidence of Mr. Williams and his girlfriend bothering anybody else. You see what I'm saying? So the guy, Victor Odorago, brought the violence to them unnecessarily. There was no way to avoid it, really, you on the train. So I think each case was different. The case here was done properly, and I think Daniel Penny should not face any time in the penitentiary either. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this case? Do you think that Mr. Williams should be charged with something? Manslaughter, murder, assault, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. How about the other cases? How about Daniel Penny? How about Carlisha Hood in Chicago? Whatever your thoughts on those are, let me know in the comments. You guys know where I'm at. This was the right decision, but there's more work to do. Can we get Daniel Penny out of the penitentiary? Can we get that or not? Well, he's not in the penitentiary quite yet, but can we have the charges dropped so he doesn't go to the penitentiary? Or will that upset the social fabric in New York City and cause a problem that's bigger than the injustice of having him charged in the first place? I don't know. I'm just asking questions, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.